On today's episode, I cover North America's most major sports.
And I'm here to tell you which cards to buy, sell, or hold.
This is The Forecast. Hey guys, I'm Amber Wilson. Happy to be back here hanging out with you guys on another episode of The Forecast. You guys know the drill. This show is the show where we bring you what you want to hear. We bring you the 5 cards you want to hear about. All you have to do is comment below, right below this video. You tell us who you want to hear about, and hopefully we'll hit you with them next week. So of course, I've got 5 of your suggestions. We're gonna do a little basketball, a little football, a little baseball. We're gonna kick it major North American sport style for you today. And of course, before I hop into it, I want to congratulate everybody at Sports Card Investor, the entire team, including Geoff. A big moment this past week as Sports Card Investor hit 100,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel. And I want to thank all of you guys, of course, for subscribing. If you haven't done so already, we're going to try to make it to 200,000. So do it, damn it, do it. Just hit the bell icon. It's free, it's easy, it's simple. It costs you nothing. Just do it. Do it now. And then you won't miss any of our content. So actually it really helps you guys out if you subscribe to the channel. But a big milestone, so a huge congratulations to everybody at SCI. All right, let's hop right into things. Before I get to the cards, of course, I want to remind you guys that this episode of Sports Card Investor is brought to you by our friends at eBay, the #1 spot for cards and collectibles, with the largest inventory of sports cards from vintage to modern to exclusives that you will not want to miss, and the largest community of sellers. eBay is the leading place to buy, sell, and to invest your cards. So we're going to kick things off in the NBA, but we're going to start. Wyatt E wants to hear about a guy who has not played in a minute because his team got knocked out in the first round of these playoffs, and that is Luka Doncic. Now, of course, the star Dallas Mavericks forward, he is one of the NBA's young megastars, so he has been absolutely massive in the hobby. His Prism Base is one of the most iconic cards from this generation. His Prism Base PSA 10 has a massive pop, while the Select Concourse is much, much lower. And that Prism is also down, if I pull it for an entire year on Market Movers, over the last 365 days, that Prism is down about 18%. So I want to show you guys, though, what's been happening with Luka's cards over the last month. Let's pull his 2018 Prism Base PSA 10. Over the last 30 days, again, really high pop on this card. It's down just about 2% in value, so super stagnant here, not much movement at all. If I'm looking at that lower pop Select Concourse PSA 10, that one's down about 11% over the last 30 days, down a little bit more in value, but nothing crazy. We know Luka has an unbelievably bright future here in the NBA. We're talking like top couple player in the NBA type future. That's what most people see here for Luka, if not maybe the best player in the NBA here at some point. So what do we do with Luka's cards? Do we buy, do we sell, or do we hold?
So I am bullish on the sports card market as a whole right now. After what's been a pretty brutal few months for prices, I'm seeing a lot of signs that prices are really starting to tick back up at this moment. So I'm optimistic about buying a lot of different players' cards right now, and one of those players is Luka Doncic. Because we know that Luka is one of the brightest young superstars in the NBA. This guy is only 22 years old. He has so much basketball and even improvement ahead of him. And I know Dallas was a little bit of a disappointment this past season. We all hoped that they would do a little bit more than they did. But I think Luka is going to go on and have incredible year after incredible year after incredible year. He's got so many great years ahead of him. And his card prices overall, they are way down from where they were several months ago. In my opinion, take advantage of the dip. Now is the time to buy Luka's cards.
So let's stay with basketball, but to a guy who's played a little bit more recently because his team's in the NBA Finals. Max B wants to hear about Deandre Ayton, so let's do it. The Phoenix Suns center is absolutely crushing it in his first playoffs, with his team making it all the way to the NBA Finals. Surprising fashion. Very few people saw the Suns being able to pull that off. Obviously, the leadership of CP3 has everything to do with it, but don't take anything away from Deandre Ayton. He has showed that the big still has an importance in the NBA. He has been crushing it, and believe me, that dude has earned that bag that is coming his way. I mean, the Suns are in a position where they are going to end up having to pay CP3 also a bag, and when they end up having to pay Ayton here, I mean, they are going to be in a position where they're going to have one of the highest payrolls, and they're going to be way into the luxury tax. It'll be worth it, though, in winning an NBA title or having a team that can make it to the NBA Finals. And they have been a much more complete team than anybody anticipated that they would be, even if they had a little help from injuries along the way, because their road to get here in the playoffs was an unusual one. I mean, they didn't have a ton of Kawhi there that they had to see. They got a little help along the way. And then we thought maybe that they weren't going to have to deal with a healthy Giannis. But in fact, Giannis appears, even on a bum knee, to be more than healthy in these finals. So it turned into a really good finals. Either way, whatever happens here, the time of taping, whatever happens here in these NBA finals, it doesn't matter because the Phoenix Suns are a very good team. And Deandre Ayton is a very, very good young player in the NBA. So let's check out what's been happening here to his cards in the hobby. Now, his 2018 Select Concourse has a low pop. It was in our top 5 this week. If you caught that episode, that card is up 41% over the last 30 days. That's that 2018 Select Concourse PSA 10. There's only 128 of these. Now, if we're looking at his Prism base PSA 10, that card is up 37% over the last 30 days. So both of DeAndre Ayton's card getting a huge bump here over the last month that he has been crushing it in these playoffs for his team, going all the way to the finals. That doesn't surprise me, but what do we do here with DeAndre Ayton? Do we buy, do we sell, or do we hold?
So although I'm bullish on the market overall right now, I'm hesitant when it comes to DeAndre Ayton because of the fact that we have seen year after year that after the NBA Finals or a championship of any sport is over, there's often a dip, particularly for the players who played in that championship series. In fact, we've seen some extreme examples that show us that even if the player wins the championship, their card prices will often fall after the championship is over. We saw a huge example of that a couple of years ago after Patrick Mahomes won the Super Bowl, yet his card prices dipped in the weeks after his first Super Bowl and MVP. It's how the card market works, and that might be the case right now with some of these Phoenix Suns players, including Ayton. They are riding high right now. Their cards are high. Even if Phoenix wins the championship, I think Ayton's cards may take a dip in the short term after the championship. For that reason, I think now is a prime time to sell Ayton and any other Phoenix Suns players you have. You can probably buy him back this offseason as a discount, at a discount, if you're excited about these, holding those cards for the long term.
The Rad Lad wants to hear some baseball talk. Let's talk about Juan Soto. So the Washington Nationals outfielder, he did not win the home run derby, but he did knock out Shohei Ohtani. And of course, Ohtani was the reason really to watch that home run derby. So there you go, Soto. He got some attention there. You don't always have to win it to do that. He's had 11 homers this season. Let's take a look at his 2018 Topps Update PSA 10. Now, I'm just going to look here at this All-Star break to see if he got a pop from that home run derby. Up 18% over the last 7 days. So his card does actually get a little pop here during the All-Star break. If I pull his 2018 Topps Chrome Update PSA 10 over the last week, that card's up 2% in value. So that card actually has remained more stagnant this week during this time. But what do we do here with Juan Soto? Do we buy, do we sell, or do we hold?
So I guess Juan Soto has had a little bit of a disappointing season compared to expectation. He's only got 11 home runs. He's batting .283, which is pretty decent. But, you know, I think people expect so much out of this young superstar. And Juan Soto has already showed us that he is truly a young superstar. And he, too, is only 22 years old. So he's got so much ball ahead of him, so much improvement ahead of him. He missed a little bit of time this season due to an injury. This season hasn't quite gotten going where he's put up the extreme numbers that we expect from him. But as a result of that, his cards are down 58% if we go all the way back to April 14th, just before that injury occurred, the week before the injury. If we go back to that date, his cards are down 58% since April 14th. I know the Nationals are a little disappointing, sitting in 4th place in the NL East, but to me, Juan Soto's the type of player who you want to have for a long time into the future. He's the type of baseball superstar that even if maybe he's having a little bit of a down season, he's going to have plenty of wonderful seasons ahead. I like buying the dip. I like buying Juan Soto right now.
Dwayne H wants us to talk some football. So let's talk about America's favorite sport and Lamar Jackson. Now, the Baltimore Ravens quarterback, he won the MVP back in 2019. Then a lot of people felt like he had a down 2020. I think what happens when you come out of the gate and then you're so darn good, sometimes the expectations are a little absurdly, ridiculously high. His down season in 2020, the dude still passed for almost 3,000 yards, 26 touchdowns. He added another 7 touchdowns rushing. He only had 9 interceptions. He's looking to rebound, though, in 2021, so to speak. And by rebound, I mean go from really good back to MVP form. That's where the expectation is for Lamar Jackson. Now, his cards have actually been slowly trending back up in the hobby over the last month as we head towards training camp here in the NFL. And then also maybe people in the hobby are anticipating that he will get back to that 2019 form, that there will be that progression again. So let's take a look at his 2018 Optic Base PSA 10. Now, if I'm looking, though, over the last month, that card's down 41% over the last 30 days. If I pull his 2018 Prism Base PSA 10, though, that card's stagnant over the last 30 days. Down 5% technically. That is stagnant over the last 30 days. So his Optic and his Prism are wildly different here over the last 30 days. But overall, I think a lot of people feel fairly confident about what Lamar Jackson can bring to the table moving forward. I mean, here's the thing about 2020. It was a weird year for all of us. So to say that Lamar Jackson was a flash in the pan in 2019, I think I'd hold off on that. I mean, the dude won the MVP. So either defenses figured him out in 2020, or it was a weird year for all of us, and really he's that dude in 2019. Remains to be seen. We're gonna see it, but what do we do here with Lamar Jackson's card heading into the NFL season? Do we buy, do we sell, or do we hold?
Talk about a fall from grace in the sports card hobby. Lamar Jackson's cards, since early last season, since the start of last football season, Lamar Jackson's cards are down almost 80%. Almost 80%. And yes, they've been ticking back up a little bit recently, but that pales in comparison to the fact that they are down almost 80% since the start of last football season. People had sky-high expectations for Lamar Jackson last year, coming off of an MVP season, which drove his card prices crazy. People were expecting Lamar to come out and just have one of the most sensational seasons of all time, I guess. Lead the Ravens to the Super Bowl, I guess. I don't know what would have satisfied the football card market at that time, but what you got out of Lamar last year, which was still a pretty good season, even though it wasn't quite MVP caliber, that was not enough to sustain his card prices down 80%. Personally, I think Lamar Jackson is still one of the most fun football players to watch. I think he is razzle-dazzle all over the field. I know people don't like the fact that he has accuracy issues, and people think maybe he's more of a talented runner than he is a passer. But to me, he's just extremely fun to watch. You have to watch him when he's on the field. He's electric. He's going to be constantly making highlight reels. I like that type of player. I'm buying Lamar down 80% going into this season. I think it's a nice time to buy his cards.
Carius11 wants to hear about Saquon Barkley, so let's stick with some NFL talk. Now, the star New York Giants running back, he is recovering from ACL injury. He tore his ACL back in week 2 of this past NFL season. Barkley and the Giants, according to reports, are not on the same page in terms of his recovery. So I don't know what that means exactly. The Giants, I know they want to be extremely cautious with him in week 1. I think Barkley thinks he's good to go. The problem here is that it's the running back position, and running backs generally in the hobby are not very popular. Barkley had been the exception to that rule, but now he's coming off of a torn ACL injury. And what does that mean here for his NFL career moving forward at a position that has a difficult time with longevity anyways? Let's take a look at his 2018 optic-based PSA 10. Now, the market has been quiet over the last 60, 90 days. It's slowly starting to tick back up. People are turning their attention here back to the NFL. So let's just pull the last 30 days I'm showing you here from Market Movers. And that card's up 8% over the last 30 days. So not a ton of movement to be had here. Pretty stagnant overall. If I take a look at his Prism base PSA 10, that card over the last 30 days is down about 25% in value. I get really nervous about running backs, and if we're talking about a running back in the NFL coming off of a major injury, I personally would be a little bit cautious of where that's headed, but I'm not who you need to listen to here. So what do we do, Geoff? Do we buy, do we sell, or do we hold with Saquon Barkley?
Now, normally I would be a little concerned about Saquon Barkley coming off of an injury, his timetable to return. We're not sure if he's going to be back week 1 or not, and that's a big injury for a running back to suffer. Normally, I would be a bit hesitant. But I like the New York Giants this year. I like the fact that they've added a lot of offensive weapons around Daniel Jones. They're going to be a much better offense this year. I mean, not only is Saquon Barkley back, but, you know, they did good in free agency, right? They got Kenny Golladay. They picked up Kadarius Toney in the first round of the draft. My guy out of Florida, and I can tell you, watching him for the last few years on the Florida Gators, he's absolutely electric. They improved their line. They did a lot of things to make their offense better. So I see the Giants coming out and doing pretty well compared to how they've done the last couple of years. Don't forget, they're also in a very soft division that seems to be completely up for grabs. So if they get some momentum going, and if Saquon Barkley is putting up some big numbers, if he looks like he's part of that momentum, I expect his cards to go up sharply the first half of the season. Even though I generally am cautious about running backs, particularly coming off of a major injury, I actually think now is a pretty good time to buy Saquon Barkley cards, especially since they're still down 62% from the day he got injured.
So there you have it. Today we stuck with the most major sports in North America. Again, you guys don't forget to hit us with your suggestions. Tell us who you want to hear about in the hobby. We bring it to you each and every week on the forecast. Just comment below, or you can DM me if you want, or hit me up on social, AmberW790 on Twitter and on Instagram. You can hear me on ESPN Radio this weekend on Sunday. I am on alongside Shay Cornett on 1 to 4 p.m. I think this upcoming Sunday. My schedule's been all over the place with ESPN. And then, of course, there's the Atlanta Card Show this weekend. The SCI team will be out there. And as always, guys, happy investing.